All right, I think we might be live here. I can't tell. Uh, we're waiting for everybody to join in. Might need some help with my iPad because I don't seem to be able to get it working. Uh, Tech support. There we go. Now I got it. I think I got it now. All right, we're live. So I'm going to turn the volume off. There we go. All right, we're live here, and we're going to wait until people join in and see, and kind of do a little tap dance while we're waiting. But I do have a surprise. So right behind me, since this is one of the biggest years in Rmgo's history, meaning one of the toughest years, and since we often use giveaways as a way to get people involved and promote our efforts to defeat gun control and repeal it, or to pass good bills, we're going to look at giving away the biggest firearm we've ever done as a giveaway. This is a Barrett M82A1 semi-automatic 50 caliber rifle, effective out to far past 2,000 yards. And as you can see from this gun, it's got a 10-round magazine that's about the same size as a lunchbox, with a Night Force scope and super long-range sniper rifle. I happen to own an older version of one of these and shoot it a lot. In fact, I shot it this weekend. And we're going to give this away, we think. But I want to know what you think. So if you want us to give away this Barrett 50 caliber rifle, valued at retail value far above, right at about $10,000, please give us a thumbs up. You can vote right now in the comments section. Give us a thumbs up, and if you want us to give away this semi-automatic rifle, here I'll show you that the weapon is safe. I already showed you the magazine, and there's no round in the chamber, but there's no room above me, so we're safe there too. So if you want us to give this gun away, give us the thumbs up and vote. If you don't want us to give it away, you think I should keep this, or you don't think this should be a giveaway gun because it's too big and mean, then you can do the frowny face if you want to. If that's the kind of person you are, if you're a buzzkill, go ahead and give us the frowny face. So we like this gun because it jumps the shark, and it's very much a over-the-top long-range weapon, and they're a blast to shoot. Literally, believe it or not, they don't have much recoil because it's got a really good muzzle brake on the end of it, and super effective out in the 1,500 yards. I think I've shot mine. The furthest I've shot mine is about 2,200 yards, shooting at old junk cars. And again, yes, if you want us to give it away, give us a thumbs up. Yeah, somebody gave us 4 thumbs up, so you get 4 entries, right? And frowny face if no. Yeah, some people are saying, please give it to me. So let me set this back here. In fact, we're going to give away this T-shirt while we're waiting for everybody to join on. We're going to give away the newest Rmgo T-shirt, and you can see it's the "Don't California my Colorado." So we're going to give it away to somebody randomly selected on the comments section. So if you want the T-shirt, we'll send it to you in your size and connect with you on Facebook. So, but you gotta send a comment there. Yep, you gotta vote. So with that in mind, I think we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and start. I'm Dudley Brown. I'm the executive director of Rocky Mountain Gun Owners, and I've been a gun lobbyist now for more than 25 years, representing gun owners here in Colorado and nationwide. And on the other screen is Taylor Rhodes, and Taylor is right outside the state capitol. We're going to hear from him in a minute. Let me talk about what we're going to talk about here. First, we're going to have an update on the red flag law, what it is. Then we're going to have a quick discussion of Rmgo's plan on the recalls, and then we're going to talk about how you can be involved and get involved in the recalls and what you can do, frankly, to finally defeat this red flag law. We're going to come back to that, but I'm going to start out by saying if you can go to redflagrecall.com, and there's a link up there right up above me. You can select that and sign up. That's what we're going to be pushing right here and now, because we need your help. We need you to be involved. We can't do this by ourselves. Rmgo is nothing except a conduit for our members, and so we need more. So let's start with the legislative update at the Capitol. Taylor, can you hear me there?
I can hear you here, and I'm here in Denver, where I was just at the governor's office, where I was just notified that the red flag gun confiscation bill hasn't gotten to the governor's office just yet. The president of the Senate and the speaker of the House have yet to send that over, so it still looks like we may have a little time.
Yeah, and why don't you tell the audience what this red flag gun confiscation law does?
So the red flag gun confiscation law is one of the most intrusive laws we've seen in Colorado. It's really it's nothing more than a gun grab. It's the police can come on a order sent from a family member, a ex-spouse,
an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially anyone. And the worst part to me about it is even law enforcement. So this means that someone you met one time at, the concert at Mile High Stadium that didn't like you because, for whatever reason, that person could then call into law enforcement and then tell them that you're a crazy person, that you don't need your guns, that you don't need to defend yourself. And to me, that's just wrong. At that point in time, law enforcement can come to your house, barge down your door, and essentially seize your firearms with no due process. It's absolutely ludicrous.
And the worst part about all of it, Taylor, I think that we see is that this can all be done without you even knowing it's happening.
Exactly. It is crazy that that person will not even know that the order has been submitted on them until the police are barging down their door. And to me, as a gun owner, if someone comes into my home, I'm obviously going to have my firearm. That's not going to be a good situation for the police or me.
No, unfortunately, puts a lot of people in very difficult positions. That's why many of the administrative functions of a county now administrators of a county have all come out and opposed it. 50 some counties now in Colorado have opposed this red flag law. Many of them saying they won't administer it. And some sheriffs have been gutsy and said they won't do it either. In fact, Weld County Sheriff Steve Reams, who testified against the bill in committee with me in both House and Senate, Sheriff Reams has kind of stood up courageously and said, I took an oath to the Constitution. I can't do this. This would violate due process rights of citizens.
Absolutely.
And this is wrong for my county and frankly wrong for the whole state.
Right. I even think I saw that he would be willing to go to jail than enforce this law.
Well, I'll let him say that. I like people to say it in their own words when they make courageous statements like that. And I think we're going to have him on a Facebook Live video soon. But yeah, there are very few people with that kind of guts, and it's nice to see him take that stand. So we don't know when the clock really starts because that's supposed to be transmitted over to the governor's office, and it hasn't.
Right. So on the 28th, the Senate voted on an 18-17 vote, and that should have essentially said the next couple of days. Now we're at actually day 10 from that vote. So they don't count Sundays. But so the clock has not started yet. But when the clock starts, they will have 10 days from that point in time to then vote on, or to then for the governor to then sign that into law. My opinion, I don't know if he'll do it or not. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe they're rethinking this. There's a comment here in our posts there that says that the red flag law is bigger than guns. It violates more than just the Second Amendment. It's anti-constitutional jackhammer that really destroys your rights to private property because they can be confiscated. A lot of it can disappear. Your firearms rights essentially can disappear by somebody else saying it, and then the burden of proof is much higher for you to get your firearms back and your Second Amendment rights back. Now this is not just isolated to Colorado. This is happening all around the country and in Washington, D.C. In fact, the federal bill is a bribe scheme to try and bribe states to pass red flag laws. In fact, some people claim other states are waiting for the feds to pass that law so that they can pass it and get the federal money. Craziness. But nevertheless, it did pass our legislature, which tells you a little bit about what our legislature is like now.
Absolutely. And I thought they were extreme here. And, it's a real shame that we have Republicans going after that on a federal level.
Yeah, unfortunately, the federal bill is being pushed by both Lindsey Graham, a Republican from South Carolina, and chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, a bill by Marco Rubio as well, which he's the one sponsoring it now. However, we don't know which vehicle will be in Congress. We do know that just this week, the U.S. House passed a protection against women, and I can't remember the exact name of it. Essentially, it's women in violence, and that bill was passed out of the House, and that could be the vehicle that adds red flag. Well, let's move on here and talk about as we monitor, and Taylor's going to monitor that on a daily basis to see when it hits the governor's desk, and therefore when that clock starts to see what the governor does. But let's talk about our reaction to this. We did everything we could to defeat it in the legislature. It's multiple amendments. The problem is getting a judge to agree that it's treason. I think the best way is our next subject, Jason, and that is recalls. It's kind of my favorite subject right now because recalls are what we have right now until the next election to hold politicians accountable for their bad votes against obviously far left Democrats who went even far beyond their election mandate in November. So let's talk about a couple of recalls in districts. The first one is House District 50, and that is in Greeley. And there's a picture of Rochelle Galindo, and she's a new state representative of Greeley. And of course, she voted for not only this bill, but a great number of other bills that are big overreach. By the way, hey, some reason I have an echo in my audio here. I'm not sure why. It's kind of difficult to, I don't know. Hold on. Got me? It's got this echo, and it reminds me when you do live TV on national TV, you get this weird echo. Rochelle Galindo is being recalled right now. They started on Saturday, and we're sending as many volunteers as we can to go and collect signatures. It's not a huge margin of signatures to collect, but enough that it'll be some work. And of course, if we recall her and get those signatures, she comes up for a recall election, we are going to do our darn best to beat her. Second, let's talk about Tom Sullivan. He won in House District 37, which is Centennial. We can pull the picture of Tom Sullivan. Tom's claim to fame, which is kind of sad, is that the Aurora Theater shooting is losing his son, and unfortunately, he parlayed that into a victory in the legislature, and he's now the main advocate for red flag in Colorado. Now, he's in a pretty conservative district, and he ran against a very weak Republican who was right in the middle and frankly wasn't very good on anybody's issues. He was a Republican, but most people would call him a rhino. Well, he's gone now, and so it's really time to get rid of Sullivan. If you could picture the district, it's basically a lot of that south side of the metro area, and it's a big wide district. Centennial Gun Club is right in the middle of it, and expect to see us in that district, especially if you're a Centennial. You'll be seeing us soon. We hope to get your effort. By the way, make sure to click on the link. Should be up at the top. It's redflagrecall.com, and join up that way. Third is Rachel Zenziger, and Rachel Zenziger is a state senator from Arvada area. You might recall that she was the replacement for Evie Hudak. Well, there's Senator Zenziger. She was the person who took the seat of Evie Hudak when Evie Hudak resigned. Once we had the signatures to recall Evie Hudak. Now, Evie Hudak narrowly avoided that recall and then had Zenziger replace her. Then Zenziger was defeated in 2014 in the elections. And then she ran against that Republican and defeated her 2 years later. Well, we have a lot of assets in that district. We know who signed the recall petitions. And though that's a tall hurdle for signatures, it's still on our radar screen. We're working on that as well. So if you have a district that you'd like to see a recall, why don't you post that in the comments section? I mean, we all probably have 20 or more who we'd all like to get rid of. Some are realistic, some may not be, but if you've got one and you want to put your effort in, understand our position is we've got to look at the races and say, can we do it? Is it too much to bite off? Are we just going to lose that election and then in 2 years from now when the person we replaced runs again? And so we have to make those decisions based on resources and time. And I'm sure we'll make a mistake. John Larson says, where is the NRA on this? Good question. Where's the NRA on anything? They said they were in favor of red flag laws in Congress, and then they go against it in the state legislature, but they've gone back and forth. And who knows? Whatever you just did back in the technical, now there's no echo. Thank you. Unfortunately, the NRA has said as long as due process rights are protected, they're in favor of red flag laws. Well, to anybody paying attention, red flag laws are by definition a violation of due process rights. Otherwise, they really aren't red flag laws or extreme risk protection orders. So,
Dudley, and I'll tell you, Dudley, being up at the Capitol every day, you didn't see them when we were on this fight, and it would have been great to have some help, but we didn't see them until the last push, and it's a shame.
In fact, I think the Secretary of State requires you to file lobbyist reports saying what bills you're working for and against, and not until the last 2 weeks did the NRA actually file that they were working against the red flag bill, House Bill 1177. We're happy to have their help. If they want to join on, that's fantastic. Frankly, the more hands on deck, the better. It was asked a little bit ago on the comments section, why don't we join forces with the oil and gas folks? Well, let me, as somebody who was quite involved in the original 2013 recalls, where 2 senators were recalled and a third one had to resign. And I was very skeptical that it could even be done. But once the ball was started rolling, Rmgo jumped right on board and ran commercials. In fact, no other group ran as many commercials against Morse or Huron down in the south part of the state. And of course, we ran the signature gathering effort in the Hudak recall. That all being said, this year it's a little different. Back then, it was only Second Amendment issues, only. There might have been a motivation by individuals, but those are the only people pushing, really, were Second Amendment advocates. Well, this year is very different. There are many people who are upset about the national popular vote. I don't relish the idea of throwing my vote away by getting rid of the Electoral College and giving it to California and New York. There were many people who are upset about the oil and gas industry and the regulations in Senate Bill 181. I happen to be a kid who grew up with a dad as a petroleum engineer, and so I had shoes on my feet because of oil and gas, and I'm a big advocate for American independence on energy. You could look at the sex ed issue that popped up. You can look at way they're trying to gut Tabor. There are a whole slew of issues that anger me, that make me pretty motivated. Obviously, the Second Amendment and the red flag issue are the main motivations. Taylor, did you have any others that really got to your core? You were there at the Capitol every day.
Absolutely. This sex ed bill, if I was a parent these days, I would pull my kids from school. It is absolutely insane that they're trying to teach these kids these explicit content at age of kindergarten. It's unfathomable.
Well, and I encourage anybody out there on virtually all these issues to go out and set aside any differences you might have. Maybe you're not angry or frankly don't even care about national popular vote. That's okay. I've run into people who are radically mad about the national popular vote and maybe not on other these issues we mentioned. That's okay. You can have your own reasonings for wanting to recall some of these politicians. The important part is jump on board and either do volunteer or donate. And Levi says, can we, the people, spread the word, become signature collectors? Well, you have to be, at least we believe the law right now is a little murky about out-of-state people, but in-state registered voters in the state of Colorado can circulate petitions and go around collect it. That's why we want you to go to that link up above and go to or redflagrecall.com and sign up to volunteer or to donate to the recall. It's going to take all of those. Gary Haight asked, where were the voters last election? The ones who did not vote basically gave the Dems, the complete control of the legislature. Well, I'm going to have, you're probably right. Remember, it's a midterm election. And I do have a piece of advice. If you didn't vote in the last election, and frankly, sometimes you just gotta leave somebody for dead. If they didn't get motivated by it, by voting against, for instance, Barack Obama in his time in the presidency, they weren't motivated by voting against Hillary Clinton. They weren't motivated by voting for Walker Stapleton, which a lot of Republicans weren't. I think that's what we get when we get middle of the road Republicans. And those people, they're not going to be woken up by you begging them again. Something might wake them up. I run into people at church or out at the range who shrug their shoulders and they say, what's the difference between the groups, between Republicans and Dems? And I say, yeah, let's fix the Republican Party, but we got to toss some Democrats out of office right now. So what I want you to do, we got to wrap up here. And what I want you to do, if you're watching this, you need to sign up on redflagrecalls.com. We'd like you to share everything we do on Facebook. Give us a like. if you haven't already done that. Not just in the comments section. There's the URL, and sign up. And if you can donate, just pitch in, and then send it to all your friends. Say, here's the chance for you to get involved. We're going to do more than once a week. We're going to do red flag recall updates. In fact, we're going to do it with people at the recall centers gathering signatures. So good way to kind of drag people into the fight. So with that, thank you. And thank you, all you Rocky Mountain Gun Owners members out there. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for being here, Taylor. And let's
Absolutely.
all get back to work.
Absolutely.